bit of a difficult one to share, but I wanted to share my experience with Efexor XR. I was prescribed 75 milligrams after presenting to emergency with suicide ideation and attempt. Essentially, they provided me with the script for Efexor XR 75. I began taking it immediately, and I read the warnings on the website online. But I didn't expect it to mess with my head in the way that it did. The scariest part about it was that it made me feel better about things spiraling downwards in my life. But it didn't allow me to feel the emotional side of things, in the sense that I had a positive feeling of okayness about everything going on, but I didn't connect emotionally in any aspect of my life, and I was okay with that, and it led me down a really dark path. So I just wanted to warn people who are considering starting the medication to really connect with your support network before you do so, and make sure you keep in mind how it might affect you and the damage that can be done as a result. Essentially, after taking it, I felt better for about 2 weeks, and then afterwards I felt really flat. It affected my confidence in driving and my ability to focus on the road. I ended up having a major car accident about 5 weeks after starting the medication. I rode off my car. Luckily nobody was injured, but I hit another vehicle. And I found that it was giving me extreme anxiety at this point after I started taking it. After I took it in the morning, within half an hour I had extreme panic, and I felt like I wasn't able to tell anyone what I was going through at the time. My diagnosis was borderline personality disorder with depression. It's something I've been dealing with for many years, and after doing the medication, my relationship with my partner and my child degraded significantly. I ended up leaving them, and I was very suspicious of people around me who were trying to help me, and I isolated myself from my support. I ended up going interstate to find a bit of a break from things, and I weaned off the medication. It took me about 2 weeks to feel normal after that point, at which point I was sort of given information by people close to me that it sounded like emotion and life had returned to my voice and my expressions. But I had a really hard time maintaining relationships, and it didn't make me feel better about my life. In fact, it made me feel more okay with the struggle that I was going through without actually improving it. And eventually it took me some time to realize that this wasn't a healthy medication for me to be taking, and the only way to improve my life was to take a pragmatic look at the patterns that I was involved in, the cycles of trauma that I was involved in, and the ways that I was undermining myself by staying attached to things which were harming me, such as a lifestyle which I wasn't content with, which was surrounded by an emphasis on like wealth and money and trying to attain wealth as opposed to focusing on building relationships. And after finishing the medication and weaning off it, I realised that it was the relationships in your life that give value and not a dollar figure, which was ironic because I'd spent years pushing shit uphill trying to make money without having anything to show for it because of my inability to be content, leading to a big spending problem. But withdrawing from the medication was very difficult. I was weaning off with doctor's advice, and it felt like I was having someone smash a hammer in the back of my skull when the withdrawals came on. And I found that cannabis really helped me with the withdrawals. I figured that it was a serotonin deficiency which was making me feel so off when I was withdrawing from it because there was less available serotonin in my brain. And it was only when I was using cannabis that I felt like I was normal or myself, like I was able to connect with my emotions. And the withdrawals was something that was very difficult to handle at work because working in the trades, I was often up on scaffolding or the ladders, and that's the worst time to have like a sense of vertigo and like someone smashing a hammer in the back of your head. So it was pretty dangerous, but I generally would have a cigarette and smash some coffees just to get my norepinephrine and serotonin responses back up so I was at a functional level again. But in reflection, instead of going on the medication, I wish that I had looked at my life before things started to go downhill and found a way to deal with them that looked at it from a holistic approach and incorporated the sense of emotional disturbance in another way other than numbing it with medication. So I guess the medication made me feel very numb and disconnected from the people around me and disconnected from myself. So I just advise, if you're going to try Efexor XR, to really consider what it might be doing for you and what it might be doing against you. I know that there are people who have positive experiences on the medication. I didn't. So really just engage your support networks where you can when it comes to trying this medication, and make sure that you're connecting with people who mean a lot to you and that you mean a lot to as well, because they're going to be your best point of call in understanding and helping you understand what you're going through and where you're at. So I'd really advise anybody who's going to start this medication to consider the positives and the negatives and make sure you stay safe, because it can make you feel more suicidal, it can make you feel more anxious, it can make you feel more depressed, and popping a pill every morning that makes your issues better or worse and you can't tell the difference isn't the way out, and neither is suicide. So if you're feeling on the verge, or like you don't know where your life is going and you're not happy with that, then do consider other methods before you go on this medication. It might not be a government funded program for mental health. It might be getting in touch with your emotional and spiritual side with a holistic counsellor. Personally, I found Reiki to be a good outlet for me to practice, as well as engage with services from a Reiki practitioner. And I think that if I had done so earlier, I wouldn't have had to go through the difficult things I did to get to the same place I am now. I guess I'm just making this video to share my experience, because I'd hate for somebody else to be in the same position I was in but not be able to make a recovery from it. Using drugs to numb another drug, and then using drugs to numb a pain, and just seeing your life spiral but not really feeling anything about that at all. So stay safe out there. If anybody has any questions, I'll do another video if I've got answers for it, or leave your thoughts in the comments and I'll do my best to reply.